It's now 3 o'clock. The meeting will come to order. Paige, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Conant? Commissioner Ziegenmeier?
Here.
Commissioner Boomgarden? Okay. Commissioner Woughton?
Here.
Commissioner Munger?
Here.
Commissioner Cochran?
Here.
Commissioner Jawanda?
Here.
Commissioner Baines? Commissioner Espandola? Commissioner Elphick?
We have a quorum. Would you please join me in pledge of allegiance to the flag of our country? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. A motion, please, for the agenda.
Make a motion.
Regular moved and seconded that the agenda be approved as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor, please vote aye.
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 Those no. Okay. We have a set of minutes to approve from the January the 14th meeting. Need a motion.
Move to approve, Conant.
Second.
Regular moved and seconded that the minutes of the January 14th meeting be approved as presented. Any discussion? Those in favor, please vote aye.
Aye.
Those no. Okay, I'd like to make a statement at this time. Under the Brown Act, when we have telecommunication, every vote has to be roll call. But after completely reading the Brown Act, I would like to say that this body will vote by roll call when it has to do with money or a major change in our procedures. Otherwise, we'll do collective voice votes. Okay, item number 3, consent agenda, and that is a money proposition. Need a motion.
Move to approve, Conant.
Regular moved and seconded that the consent agenda be approved. Paige, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Conant?
Aye.
Commissioner Ziegenmeier?
Aye.
Commissioner Woughton?
Yes.
Commissioner Munger?
Aye.
Commissioner Cochran?
Yes.
Commissioner Jawanda?
Aye.
Okay. Move down to item number 4. Proposed budget for 21-22. John?
Thank you. This is a proposed budget hearing. Every year we have to go through a proposed budget and then a final budget. We'll have the final budget.
Excuse me, John, can you turn on your mic, please?
Someone took it. Well, really, it's not here. They didn't want to hear me talk. Okay. All right. So we do a proposed budget and a final budget. Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah.
Great. So the proposed budget, the bottom line is it's pretty much the same as last year. What we're having is a dues increase for LAFCo from $2,400 to $2,410. The remainder part of the budget is the same. We've not increased anything in it or decreased it, just left it the same, although I know that transportation and travel, we didn't use a lot of it this year because of the pandemic. We may use some of it next year. The LAFCo conference, if someone is interested in attending, is going to be in Newport Beach at a hotel near the airport. So, and that does cost some money to get to, and so and we have enough in the budget to fund one person to attend that conference. we have the contingency is, I lied. The appropriation for contingency is 10%, so it's gone up $1. So we're pretty much at the status quo, although beginning or the remainder of this year and next year, we're going to have some major projects coming in. So, and those are fee supported, so we won't have any issues there. The amount to be apportioned is because of what I did was I increased the carryover from last year, and as a result, the cost for the cities and the district and the districts in the county is slightly less, a few $100s less this year. Actually, a little over $1,000 less this year because, well, we didn't travel, and we were able to put some money back into the carryover. So that's the budget, and it's $219,691. It's $11 more than last year, but we have a higher carryover, so the amount to be apportioned is less. And that's my report.
It says I'm to open it to the public. Public hearing at this time. It is now open for any public to discuss the proposed budget. Hearing none. Need a motion and a second.
Through the chair, I got a question for John. John, what day is that? What are the dates of that?
Wait, hold on. Sorry, Mike, go ahead.
What are the dates for that conference again?
October 6th through the 8th.
All right, thank you.
Go ahead, Scott.
Unfortunately, I mean, I was going to wait to talk about the San Luis Obispo case, but it has direct implications for your budget. The Court of Appeal recently issued a decision in a case challenging the right of San Luis Obispo LAFCo to obtain indemnification for its attorney's fees when it was sued. And the decision at the trial level went against LAFCo, and the Court of Appeal affirmed that decision in a decision that is extremely broad and essentially says that LAFCo doesn't have the statutory authority to impose an agreement to pay indemnification that extends beyond the completion of the application, upon completion of the annexation or a change of organization. That essentially puts us in a very difficult position because our applications, almost every LAFCo in the state has an indemnification agreement in it, whereby the applicant agrees to protect LAFCO if LAFCO gets sued. With that power being basically invalidated by the Court of Appeal, it puts us in a difficult position because now if we get an application that's controversial, we probably will not be able to get indemnification from the applicant. In which case, if LAFCO is sued, LAFCO has to pay its attorney out of its own budget. A typical lawsuit of that kind can run up to $100,000 in legal fees in a single year. And so I've been recommending to my LAFCOs that you look carefully at your reserve for legal fees and that you consider upping it. And for example, I literally have just been working with Mendocino LAFCO, and they increased their reserves for legal fees from $30,000 to $50,000. And the plan to increase it beyond that if this case isn't changed either by the California Supreme Court, if it's taken up on appeal, or by legislation through the legislature. Unfortunately, either of those two alternatives will take years to resolve. So we have to live with considerable uncertainty at this present time. And if Sutter LAFCO gets a significant application that could be controversial, we're going to have to think about how are we going to protect Sutter LAFCO. And one of the things that will help is if you consider increasing your legal fee reserve. Now, John just couldn't anticipate this because the decision only came down about 9 days ago. But it's changing the way in which we have to operate, and I have to bring it to your attention. So that would be my recommendation, is for you to look at your reserves for legal fees and consider increasing them to at least $50,000. Thank you.
In this budget, we currently have a reserve of $100,000, and it's not earmarked for any specific reason. And so we've been maintaining $100,000 as a reserve. One of the ideas that in your email that you brought up was requiring applicants to post a bond. I don't know if you can even do that. For the controversial projects, I know that we have one that's going to be controversial in the south part of the county. I'm not sure that Newcomb Ranch or these up here in Yuba City are going to be. But you never know. Some simple project can turn into be controversial. But anyway, just for your information, that budget contemplates a $100,000 reserve account already. But if we get sued, we're going to have to pay legal fees out of it, just like we would anything else. So.
Okay, I now close this to the public hearing. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Those were over $200,000. That was a very complex lawsuit. But you just get an idea that these types of things cost a lot of money. Most lawsuits we've had a few in Yuba County since, and they've been around 50 or 60, much less than that, the Wheatland one. But it does happen. So, so it's one of these things that has to be resolved. The LAFCo executive officer, Pamela Miller, just said the same thing that Scott did, is LAFCo and the SDRMA, that's a risk management carrier, insurance carrier, they're going to be asking the Supreme Court for review of this. And if that fails, then they're going to look at a legislative solution, which could take a year, could take 5 years. We don't know. Another option is to ask that if it gets to the Supreme Court and they well, actually, this is a published decision, is ask for it to be depublished, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're just going to appeal it to the California Supreme Court.
Okay, with the closing of the public hearing, I need a motion and a second to approve.
I think somebody else is there.
No, I think if you've got 100,000 in reserves, I'm not too concerned.
Okay. Well, we do have it. So.
That's Commissioner Boomgarden joining us now.
Mark, did you have somebody started to say something, but I wasn't sure if it was Mark or somebody else.
That was me. I just wanted to let you know I'm watching.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Okay, now a motion and a second for the proposed budget.
Move to approve the budget as stated.
Regular moved and seconded that the approval of the proposed budget. Roll call, please, Paige.
Commissioner Conant?
Aye.
Commissioner Ziegenmeyer?
Yes.
Commissioner Boomgarden?
Yes.
Commissioner Wooten?
Yes.
Commissioner Munger? Yes. Commissioner Cochran?
Yes.
Commissioner Jawanda? Yes.
Okay, has passed. Okay, item number 5, John.
Okay, I have a few things. Is the Newcomb Ranch has filed an application with LAFCo. I'm hoping that is going to be on the agenda for our next LAFCo meeting. Along with that, that's a city annexation, and then along with that is going to be an annexation to the Gill-Sizer Drainage District, and we're going to amend the sphere for the Gill-Sizer Drainage District to include additional area. And that's, I'm working with, I guess, Ben and the county on that one. So that's one project. We've got another project that I just became aware of recently is, I can't remember what, do you remember the name of that one?
Lincoln East specific plan. So there's an area, the Buck Ranch, kind of down in the southwest corner there of Bogue Road and Sanborn.
And they're requesting an annexation to the Gill-Sizer Drainage District, and that's not anywhere near their sphere or proposed sphere. So I'm going to need a hydraulic map so that we can draw that sphere of influence to include a lot of the area, because it does end just before that. I did notice. I said,
yeah, there's definitely some work on the city side and the county side. Originally, that was set to go to Live Oak Canal, particularly, but it's right on the edge. And so, if they tie into the existing infrastructure, we'll go to Gill-Sizer.
Right.
And so they're asking to go into the Gill-Sizer area.
And we'll need to include all that in their sphere. Right now, it's not. It doesn't include the keyhole area or any of that other area to the west of there. So
correct. There needs to be some discussion with the county to make sure if we're doing a sphere expansion for Gill-Sizer versus a CFD or some sort of other funding source for it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I know their engineer has provided me a map already, and raised a red flag with me. I think I sent you an email, and as well as the Public Works,
yeah.
David over at Public Works.
Yeah.
So that's an issue that we're dealing with. And there's still, I guess, I'm going to need more confirmation about this CSAG. The CSAG is not proposed to be detached in this annexation. I know that I emailed Doug Libby, and it was the first time he heard about it. So he's going to ask around, and there's probably with the fire people to determine and the financial people to determine that, yes, indeed, CSAG is not going to be, I'm sorry, we're not going to detach that area. It's a detachment for them. For the
that is definitely what the city's proposing for it, based on the financials and how it floats through. Mm-hmm. That it's better, instead of being a pass through into CSAG and then back to the city, it's better to just be direct. And so the city will have a recommendation to keep it out of CSAG.
Right, and that hasn't, according to Doug, that wasn't the policy that we've been following for a long time. So,
yeah.
Well, I'll just need to learn more about it, and so I can put it into our report. And so that's a couple of the projects. Sutter Point is they're working on. I met with them, and we're working on the LAFCo process and what they intend to do out there, and it's in such a preliminary state right now. It's not really worth talking about. The Sutter, the 700 forms, they're all due April 1st. Please submit them to Paige, and we'll be good to go. Also, it was brought to me up to me as we have our meetings scheduled. Regular meetings are at 3 o'clock, and I know they used to be at 4, but Commissioner Cochran and I have been talking about perhaps having the meetings at 2 o'clock. I'm not sure if that will work for you or Scott, and I don't have a problem with it. It's really up to you. If you wish to have your meetings at 2 o'clock rather than 3 o'clock, that's your pleasure. It's whatever. We'll just change our requirements or ordinance or policy is all we'll need to do. So anyway, does anyone have any comments about that? I would have to bring it back for a formal adoption at another meeting, or if there's some reasons that you can't do it at 2 o'clock, or you'd prefer to have it at 3, okay, that's fine. We'll just leave it the way it is. So it's up to you.
I'm indifferent. It doesn't matter to me.
Same here.
No, and this is one of the few I don't. So.
John, it seems the consensus is that either way, so you call it and we'll go with it.
Well, what I got to do is at the next meeting, we can schedule the next meeting at 2 o'clock if you all know it. And then it'll be a special meeting, and then we'll adopt a brief resolution that says, okay, our regular meetings are going to be at 2 o'clock every other month on a Thursday.
Larry Munger and my 700 form has been submitted by the cemetery district. So they've already gone in. Okay.
Question though.
Pardon? Paige, do you need a copy of it?
Yeah, I'll need an original.
I think you guys had to provide a copy, I believe, to each entity required.
Yeah.
I need an original signature on your
Yeah,
signature.
an original signature, yeah. I assume you got mine.
Also, with regard to the Form 700s, if there are any multi-county districts that have Sutter County as the principal county, your Form 700 has to include any property you may own in those other counties where we have jurisdiction. So it may not be the same as the one you would file for your own agency.
Okay. Any commissioner, anything to add to this meeting?
Yeah, I'd like to make a couple of comments. John, we were talking about the Center Point, and it is moving along. There's construction, model homes were supposed to be built or in construction in the spring of 23. So they're going to start on underground construction of utilities probably in the next, I would say, this summer.
Okay.
If they're going to have model homes ready or near ready on spring of 23, they're going to have something done before that.
Right. Fortunately for them, they've completed their planning process, and they need to file the application with LAFCo of how they're going to do that. As you're aware, Sutter, sewer and water are going to be provided from Sacramento County, and there's going to be a change in some of the county service areas. And Doug sent me a couple maps, and
I just wanted,
it's something that
it's not as far down the road as we all think.
we need to. Yeah, it's going to definitely be. We're going to be hearing it in the next beginning of the next fiscal year, if not sooner.
And as far as the Gil-Sizer Drainage District, sphere of influence and annexation, we had a report at the last board meeting and by staff on that.
Okay. At this time, is there any public comment from anybody? I guess that's about it then. This meeting stands adjourned until April 13th at 2 p.m.
May 13th.
May 13th, not April.